So we're joined for our final guest of the 25-26 school year. She's a Canton Tiger, but we'll let her make it today. My friend, Christy Luckett, IT systems analyst, influencer, entrepreneur, you name it. She's had her hand in so many things, so talented. I've got a room full here with me at Velma Jackson High School. And we're recording this for all of our friends in Madison County schools. Madison Central, Rosa Scott, Ridgeland High School, Germantown High School, the Academic Option Center, and our YouTube channel. And we are in the digital technology career cluster, which you've been in for so long, and such a great field to get into with different ways to get in. And we'll talk about all that. So thank you so much for taking some time for us today.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right, now we won't tell your age, but you went to Canton High School, proud Canton Tiger. So
hmm
just take us through that experience and how where you went from high school and how you kind of got into the digital technology space coming out of high school.
well, I graduated in 97 and when I graduated, I went to Jackson State, and I majored in elementary education. And that's not something I wanted to do. Some people, have that gift of working with children, and that's just not my gift. That's not my passion. And after that, I went on to run retail stores. I was a store manager for a couple of years, but fashion has always been my thing. Like in high school, I won best dress. I was, on the modeling squad. My hands have always been in fashion. And after working for our retail companies, I went on to open my own store, which was Bishop Christie. Then we transformed it into Love Bishop Christie. And it was one of the most successful boutiques in Mississippi. Melissa Faith Payne, you said that earlier, did a segment on thriving moms, and it featured my store as being one of the most successful Black-owned boutiques in Mississippi. I closed that store in 2023, and I took some time. No, I closed in 2024. I'm sorry. And I took like a year off to figure out what I was going to do. And a young lady reached out to me. She was starting a tech program where she taught SQL and all of that. Her name is Loretta Shaw with Data Analytics Simplify. I want to get that right. Um, and she asked me to take the course, so I took it, and I was like, I'm so busy. I can't take it. At that time, I was working as an accounts payable analyst for a Department of Defense company. And I was like, I'm so busy, I can't take it. And something was just like, take it. And so I took it and I finished. And right when I finished, a company reached out to me. They recruited me on LinkedIn, and they was like, we're looking for a somebody to fill a senior system analyst role, a senior IT system analyst role. And I interviewed for it and I got it. So I've
Wow.
been in IT since then.
Well, and that's so cool. But you mentioned a couple things I do want to hit on. First of
Okay.
all, Jackson State. If anybody wants to get into teaching, great education program.
True.
But also, Jackson State now has done a lot of improvements to computer science for people wanting to get into IT. Jackson State, unbelievable computer program. My friend Dr. April Tanner does an amazing job over there. So that is a route for kids that want to get into tech right
Mhm.
here, Jackson State. But for the people that don't want to go, we have a lot of kids that say, tech seems like a lot of fun. I'm a technology person, but I'm not really a college person. This is one of the fields where you don't necessarily have to get
No.
a college degree.
I
And you mentioned about you did the certification program. There's other routes, military training. I know a couple in here that want to do active duty military, and we actually have one wants to go active duty Air Force and get into IT upon graduation. And I said, that's a great plan. Um,
yeah.
Hines Community College, Holmes Community College, both great certification programs. And like you said, these companies, they're not necessarily looking for a computer science degree. Now, if you want to go get a computer science degree, by all means, we just mentioned a couple of programs, go do it. But these companies are needing people that are trained in the programs they have, certified in the systems they need, and every company, whether it because you walk into church, download our app. You go into a hotel, download our app. You look in the hospital, all the databases. You go in any type of financial institution, you have tech people. So that's what I think kids don't realize is that tech companies are not the only people hiring tech pros. Every company has a technology department that is
Mhm.
not necessarily an expert in that field, but an expert in technology.
That is correct.
So talk about, as a systems analyst, what are some of the things that you do? Because people hear the term, and you just talked about you went through the program. What are some things that you handle that maybe people don't see behind the scenes, but is extremely important to the running of a business?
Most people think when I say I'm in tech, they think I fix something. I don't. I am I'm a technical bill payer. I make sure that the company is like their financial, however you want to say it, is running smoothly. Like the lights are not getting turned off, everybody, the contractors are getting paid, these systems that they use, say for instance like Oracle or things of that nature, like we're paying those people. Microsoft companies pay them billions to operate those systems. And like you said, like you don't need a degree for it. I don't have a degree yet. I have a lot of certifications. And the company that recruited me, once I graduated, I walked into this field making over six figures with no degree.
Wow.
I needed to know those systems though. Like you stated, it's most of tech is system based. They recruited me based off one system that I knew or whatever. And I posted it a lot. I was like, if you want to get into tech, make sure you know SAP. That's one of the main systems that we use in tech. So if I'm so sorry. My thing is beeping, but make sure that SAP, that's one that's used across the globe, and it's like many systems within SAP, like S4 or something like that. You can go on the SAP site and take a little certification class, and you can come out of high school really and find like an entry level job if you know that system.
Yeah, and I'm
So,
glad you mentioned that because our students had that opportunity, and we have a couple already that have gotten certifications in high school. We have our
oh well,
digital,
that's great.
we have our IT associate program that any student in Madison County schools can take. Upon graduation, they're graduating high school with IT certifications, and they can start working in the IT field immediately.
Yeah.
And I always think it's funny that we have another guest at this platform. He works for a state department, the State Department of Revenue, and he knows nothing about finance. He knows nothing about how they're collecting taxes or any of that stuff. But he says all I know is that server can't go down. And
Right.
we just saw the incident in the news at UMC about the cyber attack. Systems
Hmm.
analysts were very busy and they were paid a lot of money to make sure that was taken care of because you mentioned about the systems in healthcare right now. You have payment information, you have medication information, you have health related records. There's a lot more and more stuff is going to digital, and it's got to have people trained to run those systems.
You're correct. You're correct about that. And it's a lot like most people think it's like one thing that you can do in tech, like you were just saying, you can work for the Department of Revenue. I work in finance. You can work in education, healthcare, anything. Like you can be transportation. They need tech people or system analysts or however you want to say it across the globe in any field. So you don't have to, come into finance. You don't have to know how to fix things. You can be a healthcare analyst.
Yeah, and a big shout out to my friend Chris Graves who helped me out recently. The school system, our tech department here at Madison County Schools is so busy. They work more than the dang teachers do, and I don't think people understand the stuff they do behind the scenes. But
Hmm.
little things like that really need qualified people to get into tech. And look, um, we mentioned about coming out of high school. These companies and these positions are needed people that are younger, that have been trained on these systems, that are trained with the newest technology. Because you hear the people that have been in it a while, they say, "Look, my degree that I got at XYZ University, I don't even use that anymore because the systems have become so advanced."
Mm, that's great. Hmm.
Now, obviously, we'd be remiss because I know you have been an entrepreneur and you've
Hmm.
been in the social media space for a long time, which, people don't understand. That takes some tech savviness too. It's not like,
Yes.
figuring out, that's a whole nother rabbit hole. But I have so many kids, and I know my other teacher friends can speak, I can speak for them. We have so many kids that tell me, I want to be a TikToker. I want to be a YouTuber. I want to be a influencer. And that's great. But I don't think people have any idea how hard it is to actually make a sound living on that. Now, I had a guest yesterday in another class from England who is one of the most fast rising influencers in the finance space in Europe. And she told us it took her 5 years to be monetized. Now, she's doing great now, but and she said sometimes I'm sick and I got to create something, or I got to do it five, six, 7 times to make sure it's right. I got to make sure my hair looks right. I got to make sure the lighting's right. So, talk about some of those things in the influencer space that I think people don't have any idea that goes into it.
Oh, the time. Well, I'm a fashion influencer. Once I closed my business, I was like, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm walking away from it. That was my thing, and mainly because one of my Instagram page, which had my largest following, I think I had like almost 40,000 followers on Instagram. Instagram deleted it, and I was like, I'm just done with it. But I kept going viral on Facebook for wearing like little simple stuff from Walmart. And I'm a Walmart creator. Walmart eventually recruited me to be a creator for them. When I'm not at work, I'm working for Walmart. I literally work from the time I open my eyes to the time I go to sleep. You have to post on every platform. It's so much that you can't say because companies don't want to work with you, or your account can get banned, or you can offend your followers. We've seen some people that rose and they was at the top of their game on social media, but they said the wrong thing and they're they just lost it all because of a comment they made. So I make sure I don't comment on things. Like I don't say offensive things. I barely even post now unless it's about fashion. I've trained myself not to log on unless I'm going to make a post about fashion or I'm telling them what's to come. It's a lot of work that goes into it. Do you make a lot of money? Yes. You can make a lot of money from social media. You can get brand deals. Like I have a lot of brand deals. Dix reached out to me last week, saying
Oh,
we
cool.
want you for this promotion that we're
Oh,
doing, and
wow.
it starts in June. And they was like, and they was like, would you like to? Yes. Ollie's opening a new store in Vicksburg. They reached out to me. They was like, we need you there the 13th and the 14th, but I have to work, so I can't go. So I had to turn it down. But it's because of my how I display myself on social media. You can't be, like I said, you can't come on and be bugger if you want to work with these big brands. You have to put a lot of time in. You have to do, your research. Whatever your niche is, just be the best in that area that you can be. Like it could be automotive, it could be makeup, it could be hair, it could be
Yeah.
fat, it could be cooking or cleaning. I know somebody that's making millions cleaning their house every day, and they got
Wow.
like big brands like Gain or Tide paying them $20,000 just to show Tide. This is a young lady that I know, but she doesn't live. She lives in Virginia. Just to put Tide in her video, she's getting checks for $20,000. So it's a lot of money in it, but it's a lot of stuff that comes with it.
Yeah, and it takes an understanding of social media algorithms. The ones that are most
Yeah.
successful, they're understanding where to put their sponsored ads. You have to know, it's like, look, people that I want to reach are going to be logging in here at this time.
Mm-hmm.
I need to make sure the
Mm-hmm.
algorithm puts them in at this time. So it's
Mm-hmm.
not just a wing and a prayer hoping it goes viral. And another thing is that's important. You are already a fashion expert. Another friend
Yeah.
of mine on this class, and I always think it's so funny. When we were 12 years old, she sat by me in middle school, but now her and her husband have 70 something thousand followers and they're monetized on several platforms, but it was stuff they were already doing. They made the decision to travel the world and they started documenting their experiences, publishing travel guides. So they weren't
Mm-hmm.
in it for the money from the start, they were in it for the content, and then the money started coming.
Yeah. It was already a passion of theirs. Like fashion was already my passion. I think you should roll whatever your passion is, and then, like you said, the money will come.
Oh, big time. Now, as they're handing me
Yeah.
questions, I do want to hit on one more thing before I get to them is you've obviously been a successful entrepreneur. And
Mm-hmm.
again, I have kids every year say, I want to work for myself and I want to set my own hours and I want to be my own boss and I don't want to answer to anybody. And then I always tell the joke, and I know they've heard me say this, but I'm a huge fan of Jasmine Sullivan. But
Mm-hmm.
she has the song that just drives me crazy where she says, I'm going to move to Atlanta, I'm going to open a business and I'm going to be rich. And I'm like, that's not how it works. So
Yes.
you obviously, your story was amazing and to open that business during COVID, which
Mm-hmm.
you saw the need, you saw there was a market for it, and you capitalized on it. So I have
Mm-hmm.
kids all the time say, I want to be an entrepreneur. Well, what are some things that maybe they don't see that's not on TikTok and not the glamorous side of it that really takes a lot of planning and a lot of passion?
Well, for me, it was I like people that when I started, I couldn't get a loan, like a business loan. People
Mm,
think like when you have a business, you have all this money. I worked a part-time job in addition to my job to start my business. So there was a lot of
wow.
years where I wasn't successful. Like I was barely making ends meet. I was like the old people say I was robbing Peter to pay Paul until I blew up. So it's that part. It's being able to promote yourself. Like I was signing up for things that I didn't want to sign up for. Even though I'm in fashion, I'm not a big fan of fashion shows. I was in every fashion show and I hate them. But I had to put myself out there. I had to learn customer service because my attitude was so bad and it could have killed my business when I first it could have destroyed me. People knew me as being a mean girl, and I was. So I had to, take a step back and look at myself like, what am I doing wrong? Why is my business not growing? And it was because of my attitude. So it's a lot of things like you have to look inside yourself and see what's killing your business. And then you have to be able to promote yourself, create a business that people need. What's going to make you stand out for the other business? What's going to make people shop with you? And then if you're not making money, you can't quit. Like I don't think I saw money until like year 3 or 4 or something like
Wow.
that. And it just so happened to be COVID. I was open prior to COVID, but it took me. I saw a need for masks. Nobody had masks in this area. Nobody had the PPE stuff. And one of my vendors dropped it and I got it and I blew up off that. That's
That's
how I
awesome.
blew up.
And you made a great point there. You may not have a supervisor per se, but you answer to customers because
Yeah,
an entrepreneur needs customers more than the customer needs the entrepreneur. And you're right.
true.
It takes great
Yeah.
customer service skills. It takes
Hmm.
kids that can be great speakers, being able to walk in a room and introduce yourself, being able to speak articulately about your product or service, be able to
Hmm.
sell to anyone. You know, kids say they want to be entrepreneurs, but they can't look me in the eye and shake my hand. That's a red flag. Being able to do things like that are very important. So even if you
Hmm.
don't want to get into tech, if you wanted to get into any type of self-employment, that's a very important skill, and I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah.
All right, so I do have a few questions here. I'll get to as many of these as I can.
Okay.
This first one is Alexander Harris. He's in ninth grade, and he asked, "Was there any time while you were making this career pivot that you thought you couldn't do it?"
While I was in class, I'm old. When I took the class, I'm 46 now, I was 44. And I was the oldest person in class. And I was like, I don't know any of this stuff. I don't know what they're talking about. It sounds like Spanish to me. And I wanted to drop out. And something kept telling me, do not drop
That's
out.
awesome.
Like, do not leave. And I was one of the first people when my class ended, I was one of the first people to get hired. Like I
Wow.
was recruited first. Yeah.
Wow. Well, that just shows it's never too late to make
Yeah.
changes. Yes. I
Hmm.
tell them all the time, there's nothing in your life changes until you change it. When you step out on faith and you have that confidence, it's amazing what can happen for you.
Yeah. And I
I
want to
like
make this point, like it might like when I was in the class, I just said when I was in the class, I wanted to give up. You're gonna have those feelings like whatever you're trying to do. It could be being an entrepreneur, being a social media influencer, tech, whatever. In school, while you're going to college, something is gonna tell you to stop, to drop out. Don't listen to that. Don't just push through it and you'll come out like me on the other side. Yeah.
love it. I like this one. This is Kelsey Slaughter. She's in 10th grade, one of our volleyball players, one of our JROTC officers here. And she asked, was it hard trying to adapt to a new busy lifestyle? And how do you manage your time effectively, especially as a mother?
I have a schedule, and I'm a pick up, drop off mom. I drop my daughter off at school. I pick up, so my day normally starts at 4:30 in the morning.
Wow.
Yep. So I get up. Like today, I took pictures to promote for Walmart today. I got up at 4:30. I got me ready. I got my daughter ready. I dropped her off. I was home by 7:30. I was in front of my mirror taking pictures for Walmart. Once I end this, I'm gonna log back on for work because I logged in for work at 8 o'clock. I logged out to do this. Once I log off here, I'm gonna go back to work and my pictures will drop after 5. So I
Wow.
have a schedule set for myself.
But that goes back to understanding the algorithms, knowing that when you're, timestamp everything. Your
Yeah.
job can't say, well, you were on the clock doing this. No, I wasn't. This didn't post until 5 o'clock.
Correct. And that's not like my jobs don't know I'm doing this.
Yeah.
That's why my name is different on social media. I don't want them to be like, oh, she's this person on social media. Even though some of them may have found my page, I don't want them to be like, oh, she this person on social media. She don't need this job. I want all of it. Like, yes, I do. I wouldn't be here if I did need it. But yeah, I make sure I post after hours so they won't say it's interfering with my job performance or anything like that. And plus, most people are online at 5 or 6 or 7. So you want to post during that time.
There you go. I got time for two more. Um, I like this one. This is Corbin Smith. He's in 10th grade, one of our choir members on our track team and archery team. And he asked, what was it that really led you to know that being in tech while being an influencer was for you?
Um, the flexibility. Now, one thing
There you
about
go.
tech, it's very flexible. I'm like most people that I work from home. I get to work in my pajamas, or I get to move around like I want to, and I work for a company that they don't micromanage. So I don't have to be on camera. I don't have to answer a phone. Like a lot of people that work from home, they answer phone. There's no beep in my ear. I work at my own pace. They tell us don't rush, take breaks. If you're having a stressful day, just log off and go outside. So I like that. And then being an influencer, it's so many great perks that come with that. Companies send you free stuff. They be like, you want to come here, this, that, and the other. So it was the flexibility for both of them for me.
Love it. All right, I got one more. This is Jayon Kincaid. He's in 10th grade. And he asked, as somebody that's interested in the IT field, what would be the biggest pros and cons for someone considering it?
The only con I could think about is they always talk about layoffs. And I haven't experienced that yet. So I can't say I would say get with the company that doesn't have a high turnover rate. Before I took this job with the company I work for now, I looked them up and they don't have people don't leave them. Like people stay with them and retire forever. And then another con, everybody's talking about AI, but me being in tech, I know like AI can't do everything. Like AI can't do my job. AI is not going to take over. It's going to, a human would need to be there to check behind AI because they make mistakes too, or whatever. So, the pro to me, the money,
Yeah, and, and,
especially
and,
with,
and you talk about the layoffs. Well, first of all, I agree. AI is not taking jobs. You're gonna always have to
yeah,
have people program the AI. So if you
yeah,
can get those type of certifications, it's going to be transferable. And you mentioned
yeah,
about the layoffs. The ones who don't get laid off are the ones that stay up to date in the field
yeah,
because honestly, you may have to take that initiative and get certified in a new type of software. Even as a teacher and in other places I've worked, I've had to learn new software systems. So that is something that is always going to be a good skill because I'm
yeah,
not even an IT pro, and on a daily basis, I use I think 4 or 5 software programs that I had to learn. So it really is the wave of all fields. So that's a great point. Now we're almost out of time, and we thank you so much for taking
you're
some time for us.
welcome.
A couple things before we go. First of all, Bishy Chrissy on Instagram is your Instagram where all of your influencing is coming. That's BISHIECHRISSI is
Mm,
your Instagram where you've kind of brought it back. And that's also it on TikTok for everybody to follow. Really cool stuff. I'm not a fashionista by any stretch, but it is entertaining and it's wholesome. I always tell people find positive people online to follow, whether that's
mhm,
something you want to be an expert in or not. The more positive things you can put in your life, it's just amazing how your mindset changes. Look, social media is not going anywhere, but find the people that
yeah,
are going to be positive. Don't find the negative and the hateful people. Find positive people like yourself to follow.
hmm,
But the last thing before we go, obviously, you talked about you pivoted to tech later in life, but we also said we need kids to get into this because of the growing need, the growing number of
yeah,
new systems. So as these
hmm,
kids start making decisions, after high school, whether it is to go straight into IT, to go to college, to go to the military, why should they really consider getting these tech certifications and tech degrees for a field that is constantly growing?
Because there is a need for it. Like we're moving into like the world is so technical now. We're so data driven. Everybody's using technology. There is a great need for it. And I would start getting certifications now. Like me being in tech, and I've been in tech, what, almost 2 years. I still take certification class. You made that point. I still, so I won't be one of the first to get laid off. I constantly take certification classes, and there are free certification classes that you can take that you don't have to pay for. I make sure I take them. Like my job was like, we're going to start using more AI tools, to help us to do this. The first thing I did was log on and find me a free AI course. So I would suggest, getting into it because the world is just data driven now.
Love it. Well, again, we thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule. And we appreciate the Kenton Tiger joining us in Velma Jackson land today. But I kid, it's just such a friendly rivalry, and it's always great to see our Kenton Tigers do well as well. So, again,
Okay.
we thank you so much for being with us
You're
today. Bishy
welcome.
Chrissy herself, Christy Luckett, thank you so much for joining us.
All right. Yeah. You guys have a great day. Bye bye.
See ya.